The Book of Boba Fett, Episode 7, In the Name of Honor. I don't have time to hop in front of the camera. I don't have time to edit this much at all, so you're basically going to listen to my voice a little bit. But I'm going to say this was hands down my least favorite episode of this season, of this show so far. Yeah, there was a lot of action, but the action was so, in my opinion, and I haven't looked at the general consensus, I haven't really looked around at other people's opinions, I thought that the action was so poorly executed and shot. It felt so flat. It's really hard to explain. I mean, really 90% of the action in this episode was just a big shrug of the shoulders from me. Hiding behind a speeder for minutes at a time. I mean, okay. I don't know. It was just extremely boring. Like, it's really interesting, the dynamic that plays out with things like this. You have this action on screen that is supposed to be like, oh my God, check it out. And then you just end up being bored by it. All the bad guys, all the pikes are just kind of standing in the middle of the street. There's no cover. Cover doesn't exist in the Star Wars universe. If you're a bad guy, you just kind of stand out there and then wait for some street kids and some farm people to blast you dead. It was not good. It was not good action. Of course, there were pockets of action here and there that were great, like little isolated moments, like Finnick at the end going after the mayor, and a little and some of the crime bosses around there, a little assassination attempt. That was great. I really liked that. The Cad Bane and Boba Fett standoff was pretty solid. Like, the action itself was okay, but I thought the confrontation was wonderful. I hope Cad Bane is dead. There's a thing about Star Wars that I've never been into, that I've never really understood, is the desire, the necessity, the want of viewers for every character to come back. Like, we've had Cad Bane in a lot of other things, right? We've seen Cad Bane. Cad Bane's a great character, don't get me wrong, but like, not every single character needs to get shot and then come back and survive. I mean, Boba Fett, now Cobb Vanth, Darth Maul, Emperor Palpatine, the list goes on and on. Is Cad Bane going to be a part of that list? I hope not. I mean, it was super fun to see him in this show. He added an interesting dynamic in the past couple episodes. I liked his demise. It was pretty great. Now, he did have something on his chest that started beeping. Was that an indication that Cad Bane is going to survive? Maybe. Another aspect of this episode that I thoroughly enjoyed was the synchronized attack by the locals, by the crime bosses on Santon and the speeder bike gang kids. I don't really know what to call them. And the Gamorrean guards. Like, that coordinated attack was very Sopranos, was very mob boss. Let's put a hit on these people. It was great. I really enjoyed that. But man, for the most part, like, this episode was meh. My favorite stuff was Mandalorian stuff, and the Grogu stuff was pretty great. I want more Amy Sedaris. Amy Sedaris is such a joy. She is such a delight in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. She fits so well. I love her sense of humor. When she falls on the ground and spits out her tooth, I am a big Amy Sedaris fan. I think she fits so well in this show. Her performance, her attitude, her character is such a fun breath of fresh air. I want an Amy Sedaris action figure, okay? I want a Peli action figure. Roger that. Let's do it. Does that exist? I'm gonna have to look that up after this. But yeah, man, I don't know what else to say. This episode was so much action, but it felt so disjointed. It was not good action. It was so flatly shot, and the conclusion to this episode, I guess, is pretty solid. I liked how all the people of Mos Espa are rebuilding, and there's a newfound respect for Boba Fett because he didn't, cut and run. He stood his ground, and he's looking after for his people. He's not going to abandon the people of Mos Espa like he maybe in his heart thinks that he abandoned the Tuskens, right? He doesn't want that to happen to this new group of people who he feels responsible for. I liked the evolution of Boba Fett's character through this show. I liked how people called him soft, and he responds to it in kind. I did enjoy the evolution of Boba Fett's character through episodes 1 and 7. It was fun to watch. But overall, the show itself, the whole package, the 7 episodes in this first season was just fine. It was just fine to me. It was just okay. Robert Rodriguez's episodes, I for the most part, they were big shrug of the shoulders for me. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is one of my least favorite things in kind of modern Star Wars, the Book of Boba Fett. It's just kind of run of the mill, nothing crazy, just feels like a disjointed Marvel show. And I kind of hope The Mandalorian doesn't like become this, you know? I love The Mandalorian as a show, the first season especially, because it stood on its own 2 feet. It introduced a lot of new stuff. The second season was fun too, but it kind of like started snowballing into, hey, remember this character, remember this character, remember this character, and setting up other shows almost. And I'm just sitting here like, come on, just be your own thing. Just be your own unique thing. Not everything needs to branch out into something else and be something else and introduce a new familiar face for another show. Like, just focus. Just focus your attention on this, the here and the now. But yeah, what else do I say about this episode or the show itself? I'm gonna have a lot more thoughts in the not too distant future, but the episode was probably my least favorite in the entire season. It was an hour on the dot, and it should have been like 40 minutes. It was just so disjointed. The action was flatly shot, and often boring. Yeah, thank you for coming to my rambling TED Talk, I suppose. What do you guys think? Am I being a negative Nancy? Am I being a grumpy Gus? Am I being a Debbie Downer? Am I being a pessimistic Pete? Am I being a Donnie dipshit? Nah, I just didn't like this episode all that much. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks for allowing me to ramble a little bit. Those are my first impressions. You'll hear from me quite a bit in the next week about this episode and the Book of Boba Fett. HelloGreedo, out.